Evening, everyone. Would be handy if I'd turn the volume up. Such an amateur. Oh my God. My game will improve. I promise you all. So welcome along, everyone, to this evening's stream. As I said, that last night I tried to stream with the new software. It's quite a lot to it, a lot of buttons. Maybe I'll take a picture and I'll show you what it looks like. But it's I'm just getting used to it, and obviously a bit of trial and error on my part. Hopefully it'll all improve over time. So we've got a multiple screen. I've got a screen that is going to allow me to show the leaderboard on a race day and the track as well, just like you'd get on Live RC or whoever else streams radio controlled car racing. As I say, the stream went down last night using a new app. I think the problem was the iPad that I was using to film me with, the processor was a little slow. And I think there was a bit of a bug in the system with that. So hopefully that'll be all improved. So the weekend debrief back again. It's been quite popular. The channel is getting some more views. Those of you that follow me on or follow the channel on Facebook, from the last 28 days, I've had over 14,500 views. The 28 days before that, in comparison, only 4,500 views. So close to 3 times more views, which is good stuff. The channel's growing. Got 1,083 subscribers now, I think, and hopefully that's going to keep on growing. The algorithm works that obviously the more I post stuff and the more content I create, the algorithm likes that, contributing to YouTube, and hopefully the more the channel can get out there and create an audience. Anyhow, so the debrief, let's talk about the weekend. So those of you that follow on Facebook, I hit Slough Raceway on Saturday. Sam Mughal and his son Yasser run the club. They have a hardy following on a Friday night. They are putting together some wild tracks. If you haven't checked it out, check out all the finals and the qualifying and a sort of a bit of a pit walk that I did last Saturday. You'll find the links. I'll put those in the links below. But the track's always feisty. It's a decent sized hall. Not quite as big as 1066, if those of you that have been there, but it's a fair size hall. But they seem to cram so much in. I mean, there was a giant box section on Saturday, but anyway, they ran a Friday meet. I think they had 45 guys, which is great. End of the week, it's no reason why, or it's no surprise, should I say, that they get so many people turning up and running on a Friday night. Really great atmosphere. Guys do a great job with putting on a good show. You always get some good practice time on a Friday night. You get sort of a half an hour or so, and then you get 3 rounds of qualifying, or 3 or 4 rounds of qualifying, and then you get a final, which is great for a Friday night. Saturday was their winter series. I think it was their 5th event of 6, 4 to count out of 6. And they had some good drivers there. Yasser was there. Yasser Mughal. Will Venables was there. Another chap that's a national driver, the top 15 or so. He was there. And then the rest of us. Good shout out to Ollie Mattress. He had a cracking day. I don't know how old Oliver is, but he's only a young lad, can't be more than 13, 14. And he was really taking it to Will Venables. And as the day went on, as you usually see with good drivers, they know what they're looking at with their cars. They know what things they need to change. And so Will got gradually quicker and quicker, and Yasser got quicker and quicker. And those two were the two guys to beat. And the third place guy, which I cannot remember the chap's name, for which I apologise. I will find his name right now because he deserves a shout out. It was Kevin Brunsden. Richard Barton was there, Oliver Mattress, Richard Miller, John Pape, Stuart Walgar and Scott Follington and myself were the top 10 drivers in the A final. I managed to qualify fourth. Funny day for me, really. Went there, stuck the car down, and pretty slow over the first two runs. We had an hour's worth of practice. I went there with trying out some lighter shock oils and a few other various things, and with the wheel speed, and it was good. It was just a bit hard to drive to start with. The box section was really, really big, and then car felt unsettled, and so I just went a bit thicker with the oils, made a few other changes as well. I managed to qualify fourth. It was a good day's racing, and I finished fourth in the A final, and I was pretty pleased with that. Fourth over the three legs. I had 1 second and a couple of also rounds. First run, I think I was last, and then the third run I was like fifth or sixth or something. So anyhow, I managed to finish fourth, which was good. Tony Wade was there. Tony, who contributes to the podcast, he was there. G. Geraint Williams was there as well, as you'll know. Stu Barber, a 12 scale guy that's gone to buggy racing. Who else was there? Chris Blackburn, and a few. It was a 45 people there racing, and it was a good meet. Everyone was sort of mucking in and changing things up, trying to get their cars to run better. I think buggy is a really good class that you can just keep popping the car down, not have to worry too much about tyres. Obviously they wear out. If you want to be at the pointy end, you're going to have to sort of either change the tyres or adapt the setup as the tyres wear down, which just makes it lower maintenance and less expense, I suppose, really, compared to 12 scale, where you're kind of having to have enough sets of tyres for the whole day. And again, if you want to be at the sharp end, and not even that really, if you want the car to be fairly easy to drive and competitive, you want to be sort of reasonably changing your tyres all the time. So Stu Barber, he did well. He got better as the day went on. Same with G. Same with everyone, really. The atmosphere in the pits was great. Everyone's sort of helping each other out. Yasser and his dad Sam were there, obviously, with the Yokomo shop, which helps me out when I crash and I don't have have spares. Fortunately, that didn't happen on this occasion. And again, another day of throwing the car over big jumps and small jumps and awkward angles and jumping away from yourself and jumping towards yourself and all that kind of thing. And I noticed there were certain directions. So we were going up a ramp to the left. I battle with using brake, but going up a ramp to the right and using brake, for some reason, I'm way more comfortable. So that's something that I need to start working on, getting more comfortable with braking to the left, going up a ramp. I have no idea what that's all about. But, if you followed the debrief last week, I talked about concentration. We had a question in. If you've got any questions while you're on and watching, feel free to chuck them in the box, and also give us a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from. There's a few of you online watching, not many, but a few of you watching. Let me know where you're watching from, and I'll endeavour to help you out if I can. So we were talking about concentration last week. So the concentration was about what do you think about and dealing with nerves and all that kind of stuff. And I think just kind of the whole looking and being aware of what you're doing is part of, not being too intent on driving the car or hitting lines or all that kind of stuff. You're just aware. So it was a really interesting day. I always want to do well, but I always feel like buggy is the conduit to racing quicker with 12 scale. So I always go to it with a slightly different mindset, which is one maybe I should carry over to 12 scale. I don't know, but having said that, in the third run, I think, or second run, third run, because the first two runs weren't great. Third run, it was fastest time of qualifying, so which is unusual for buggy. It's normally round by round, so I needed a good round to be put in, and I did that in round 3, and I got some adrenaline going. It's a bit of shaky leg syndrome, so that was cool to experience that in buggy, and so I walked away feeling like I've had a good day's racing. You always get an hour's practice at Sam's place on a Saturday, hours free practice, which I think is such a better way to go. We did that on the On Road podcast series. Instead of doing practicing within your heats, we did open practice. Not necessarily sure that works for 12 scale, but I think it works really well for buggy because you just chuck your car down and go out. I think with 12 scale, if you can do 8 minutes for practice, I think it gives you an insight into how the car is going to be over those 8 minutes, rather than with buggy. However it is at the start is pretty much how it's going to be by the end. So the day was a great one. Looking forwards, what's coming up? We've got, as I say, we've got 1066 on Sunday, which is going to be a really big buggy meet, which is going to be great. I love 1066. If you've not caught the feed that I did a couple of weekends back, that is absolutely a track that you must get to. They always have superb tracks, and it's a bit. I always call it the Huddy of the UK, the Huddy Arena of the UK. You're perched up really high on the second floor, or the first floor rather, and you're looking down at the track. You're really high up. I think it almost like those of you that have done the Essex Winter Series. It's very much like that. You're really perched high up and looking down on the track gives you a very different perspective of how to drive. So it's quite different. Again, just different perspectives. All of this stuff that it's like when people talk about going anti-clockwise to clockwise. If you're used to driving clockwise and then you drive anti-clockwise, some people get all a bit freaked out about it. But you're going left as well as right, aren't you, on a track? So it's a really good track, and the good thing with 1066 is they won't just have a straight down the left. They might have a straight coming down the right. They might not have a full straight. They might have half a straight. They just sort of just open it up, which is fantastic. So I had a question come in from Paul Keeping. Whereabouts is 1066 track? 1066 is in Hastings. Straight the way down the A22, I think it is, all the way to Hastings. It's a cricket ground. You can find it on Facebook. It's a really great venue, and they do a Sunday meet as well. Sunday meet, they have 3 qualifiers and sometimes 2 qualifiers and 3 finals. And the way they do their Sunday meet is they actually do your fastest 3 consecutive laps, a bit like when they do seeded heating in the Euros or World Champs or something like that, which is a really nice way of making it a bit different. And that's the thing that I've noticed about buggy racing, is that they're really not frightened about changing it up, whether it be the way you qualify, 1 final, 3 finals, 2 qualifiers, 4 qualifiers. Everyone seems to be really cool with changing it up. Again, I really like that. I think that's a great opportunity to experience different things, improve your racecraft, racecraft. And I think that's what I've really noticed with racing buggies, is that everyone's racecraft is generally pretty good, because everybody knows that if you jam it up the inside and you touch wheels, the chances are that both of you are going to come out pretty badly. So the people's wheel-to-wheel racing is pretty fast and furious. And I was having a conversation with Geraint, a friend of mine, when we first went to do buggy racing at Surrey and Hants, another great track down in Hampshire, down the M3. It's on a tennis court, so it's dead flat, but obviously we could put big ramps in and stuff like that. When we went there for the first time, it's like, oh my goodness, keeping it on all four wheels is hard enough, let alone racing. But like a year, 18 months later, going toe-to-toe with people over ramps and being able to take in the ramps and taking in racing lines and not touching their wheels and braking and accelerating, it's amazing how quickly you adapt. And I think that was the overriding reason why G and I got into buggy racing, because when we were going to, I think it might have been Chesterfield. We were on the way to Chesterfield and we were sitting in the car way up there. We've probably told this story too many times, but we decided we should get some buggies because those buggy guys at the Euros seemed to be quite good at it, and that was the reason why we bought a couple of buggies. So 1066 on Sunday, that's worth a try if you haven't been there. But you'll see all the live coverage right here on the channel. And it looks like the stream is working really nicely. Looks like it's got good quality. Looking on my iPad there as well. So that's give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button if you think it's a good quality, good stream. Always helps the algorithm. And what's coming up the following week is an exciting week. We've got the 12 Scale Nationals. That is going to be at Tamworth. They've got a full field on the Saturday and the Sunday, I believe. In fact, I think on Sunday you've got 2 spots left. But GT12 is full, which is 30 cars on the Saturday and Sunday, which is really good to see. More people taking part in GT12, and I think there was a shout out on one of the groups on Facebook, someone saying if we don't get involved, we're going to lose our nationals, and duly people have stumped up and come along and started racing GT12, which is, as I say, which is really good to see. Moving on from the 12 Scale National, we've had confirmed that the 12 Scale Euros is on, which is exciting stuff. So I've had quite a few messages this week about people excited about their going to the Hoodie Arena to race. Now, the last time I was there, I had a bit of a tough time. My car was making love to the barriers on many occasions, and I didn't finish any runs and qualified in the bottom final. And I honestly walked away from there feeling a little bit twitchy. So hopefully that is going to be a different experience for me. Flying into Vienna, then taking a couple of hour drive to the Hoodie Arena where X-Ray is. If you've never been to Hoodie Arena, well, it's a pretty spectacular venue when it comes to RC car racing. They've got an indoor off-road arena on dirt. They've got an outdoor touring car track, and they've got an indoor carpet off-road track, and then they've got an indoor 12 scale, 10 scale carpet track. So they've got lots of things open to them, huge pits areas, and obviously they've got the X-Ray factory there, and it's a very impressive place if you've never been. And if you're thinking about getting to the Euros and you've got a few shekels to spend, I would adamantly encourage you to do it. To give you some idea of the costs so far, you can pick up a hotel for £40-50 a night easily. single room in Trenching is the name of the town. Flight. Well, that's a. I've gone upper class and got some extra baggage space, so the flight with some Avios points cost a couple £100. Then the car hire for 4 days is about 90 quid each. Me and G and I are travelling together, and it's going to be 4 days. Go out on the Thursday, come back the Monday, and I believe the Friday's a practice day. Saturday and Sunday is qualifying and finals. So that will be a good little trip to get the RC fix. So that's coming up as well. That's coming up in April. So, and of course we've got the final weekend of the Nationals in March. So February is going to be Tamworth. March is going to be Chesterfield. And then April is going to be the Euros. And potentially I'm still mulling over a potential 2-day weekend for the On Road Podcast race series again. So I'll either do that going into the summer or coming out of the summer. I'll have a little think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Drop a comment in the box below and let me know what you would think is the better one that suits you. You can see in front of me I've got my new kit, which is going to be my Euros car. So I'm just starting to build that up. I've got a video coming out this week, which I've been meaning to do for ages, on this the Sky RC corner weight system. Really cool. It gives you can have a little look in the camera in front of you there. It's got 4 scales. It's really sensitive, so depending on where you put the wheel on the scale will have an impact on how much force is on the scale, of course. So it's important to get the wheel in the same place if you're going to measure. Bit anal, I know, but there you go. Fixes the addiction. Got another question coming from Paul Keeping. What is 12 scale like from a competitive learning curve for a beginner? Okay, good question, Paul. So 12 scale is quite I don't want to say complex, but there's a lot going on with 12 scale in the sense that when you build the car, you've got to be really detailed with how you build it, and then once you've built it, then you've got to be quite on point with making sure it's running straight. And I'll give you an example running from the front to the rear. You've got to make sure that, and this I'm not going to go through everything, but just to give you some idea, you've got to make sure your foam tyres are all trued with the correct stagger from front to rear. You've got to make sure your ride height is on point from front to rear. You've got to make sure your centre ride height, droop, is on point. You've got to set your centre shock correct. You've got to make sure your springs aren't compressed. You've got to make sure your body shell is set at the right height. There is lots to it, but I think the way to 12 scale is fundamentally through running another foam class, and that foam class would be really GT12. Buy yourself a GT12 car, and I think probably 2 of the best cars to get would be the Zen RX GT12, or secondly the Atom, the Schumacher Atom. I think those 2 are 2 cars, and arguably as well the Mar Dave, Pulsar. Those are the 3 GT12 cars that are less finite with their setup. And then once you've got a bit more competent with a GT12, which is a GT car style body shell compared to a Le Mans LMP style body shell. Once you got comfortable with that and making sure that runs straight, the beauty with it is that you can whip off the rear axle on the GT12 car and just put on the axle that you'd get on a 12 scale car. Reason being is that you need to run a wider rear tyre, but it's the same front tyre. The axle that you need is different on a 12 scale car to a GT12 car. So then you can just stick down your GT12 car with a different body shell on it and just go racing. So much so that there was a chap, James Can, went to the Euros on many occasions and just put a 12 scale rear axle on his GT12 car, had a great time and did really well. Car wasn't any more complex. He felt more competent with it because he'd been running it at club level, and the car just handles a bit better because of the contact patch on the rear is bigger. You can strip a bit of the weight out and make the car run lighter. So I think from the opportunity to run the car and get some competition in, I think if you start with GT12, you're more than likely at club level be able to find more people to race against. And then once you've done that, you could turn up at the Nationals, GT12 Nationals, and run then. And then when you're at the GT12 Nationals, then you can see what's going on with the 12 scales. And then you could enter a 12 scale national. So I think GT12 would be your conduit to getting involved with 12 scale, and a really nice way of doing so. GT12 cars are a little bit more robust. Having said that, 12 scale cars now are really robust. But if you want to learn more about the setup and just the overall maintenance of those cars, I've done plenty of videos on how to build and set up and mount body shells for 12 scale cars, which is hard to find. I mean, there's videos out there. If you go to Alex Hagberg, he does plenty on it. And even if you buy an X-ray car, as I've talked about, you get videos that are hosted by Alex Hagberg telling you how to build various parts of the car. Well, not various parts, all of the car. You see in this, I've got the manual here, and you can see that actually there's a QR code there that you zap, and that will give you a video to tell you how to build those side dampers. So 12 scale is intricate, takes a lot of attention. The cars are small, take you way quicker time to set up compared to a buggy or a touring car, but they need to be right. And when you drive a car that's straight and is hooked up nicely, they're a joy. Get them a bit buckled and you've whacked them a few times and the body shell's not set right and you've got different ride heights and your droop's not right, etc, etc, they become a bit of an arsehole. So I would recommend starting with a GT12 car and then dipping your toe into 12 scale. That's the best way to go. I think if you go into 12 scale cold, I think it's quite a tricky class to open up with. So that pretty much rounds up this week's debrief. It looks like the stream has stayed with me, so I've fixed the bugs. Another question coming from Paul. Thank you. I'll have a look into it. Probably worth going to watch a 12th meeting. Absolutely. Absolutely, Paul. Come along to a 12th meeting. I will be there if it's a national. Come over, say hello. I'll be happy to have a chat to you. But take a look through the channel and make sure you subscribe while you're here and click the like button. And that will give you some insight into 12 scale racing. So stay tuned for more videos coming your way this week. So I'm going to try and get the corner weight system video out. Just got to finish editing that. It's going to be racing going on Sunday, and I might do an impromptu live along the way as well. So stay tuned for the notices on that in the community channel. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the feed, click the like button. It really helps. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I look forward to seeing you all trackside soon.